last week, Melbourne witnessed an amazing show. So from an audience point of view, I was sitting there mesmerized, and I still haven't woken out of the dream. 100 plus dancers, more than 50 technicians, and the lighting, music, the shlokas, I mean, everything put together so perfectly well. And this is all because of the person sitting next to me, Shyama. So I'm still, I'm still so excited and really thinking. I mean, how did she even put together such a big storyline? Because as you know, it's not easy to bring an epic on stage as a play, and she actually put together Dashavataram, which is the 10 avatars of Mahavishnu. So I just want to check with Shyama. I mean, I just want to ask her. I mean, first of all, I'm so thrilled to even have the entire crew here, who is in front and behind, the play. And I just want to start off with Shyama. That how did she even think about this concept? Because this is such a difficult concept to put together as a play. So how did she even think about this?
Thank you so much, Mrishiji. It's so kind of you to have given me those words. Dashavataram Transcending Ten was our production in connection with our 10th year celebrations for Prakalpa Samskruti. While I humbly accept what you said, I must tell you that it is not just because of me, it is because of an entire team who stayed together that it was possible. And just as you said, how much I wish the entire team is here. We just have a little group here who is representing the entire team today. But yes, we will all be able to share what went in through Dashavataram for us. Well, for me, I was fixated on the idea that yes, for the 10th year, we are going to be doing a grand concert. It should be a school production. And with the 100 plus girls that I have, I wanted to do something that would involve most of my dancers. Primarily, after my first production, which was Vraja, which was based on Krishna's life, my concept was to do a woman-oriented theme, something that I can work with my 100 plus girl dancers and women dancers. But somewhere along the path, like a calling, I got this concept of Dashavataram into my head, and because it came like that, I couldn't brush it off, and I had to say, okay, if this is something that is that has been ringing in my head, Shyama, Dashavataram, your 10th school concert, I decided to go with whatever was echoing within my head, believing in this being a project that has been put upon me. Eventually, I was a bit, even though I took it up, like what you said, Dashavataram, to even show an epic is challenging. How on earth am I going to show Dashavataram was a big question to myself as well. But as I went deeper into the project, what I realized was, okay, Dashavataram was one thing I wanted to do was not just stick it to the mythological aspect of Vishnu's 10 avatars, but also to connect it to the theory of evolution as we know it, and connect it to how life evolved on Earth as a secondary line. So when I had this in mind, it was pretty okay. In terms of concept, I knew that I'm going to mix these two elements as I put down the play together, along with the dance components that I wanted in it. Moving in, I started questioning this thought that came into my head, that Shyama 10th concert and Dashavataram, because with 100 plus dancers, all girls and all women, how on earth was I to create characters that are so male oriented, like so predominantly male characteristics embedded characters, like Hiranyakashipu, Dushasana, Arjuna, Krishna, everybody like Parashurama, like there's so many characters which had so much streak of very strong masculine elements, and I had to create it within the school. But that one question that came into my head slowly started vanishing as I started going deeper into my project. What I realized was, going through the project, I realized that beyond Dashavataram, there were lots of layers that I had to, peel out, to discover, to understand. And then more than just a school production, it became a journey for me that I started going within and beyond. Just like our title says, Dashavataram Transcending Ten. So it goes beyond the 10 for me. It's going beyond the basic concept of production, where we all started looking deeper within these contexts and started to find answers. And then it started becoming a thrilling journey of discoveries, understanding, and little learnings that came through, with each stage of development of this project. Now, when I started with Dashavataram, I had my core team from Craigiebeyond, where I live. My girls were always there. I'd come and I'd call them out for a brunch and say, okay, let's sit and catch up on these ideas. I'd throw dart ideas at them and tell them this is what I want to do, and then they'd keep nodding. It's nice to see how your students get involved in the process. But the other person that I immediately roped in was Unni after my first project Vraja, for which Unni did amazing musical support. And I knew that he is one of those friends I can always call and bounce ideas with. Somebody whom I can connect on an intellectual line as well as on an artistic line. So it was so easy to connect with Unni. So early this year onwards, I started telling him that this is what I have in mind. So initially, yes, I did tell Unni that I'm going to do a female-oriented theme and all that. But then, coming back, I'm like telling him, Unni, you've changed, okay? We are going to be doing Dashavataram. And he's like, huh? It was nice. So he was like, he was always ears to understand what the whole process is. Like, okay, tell me, what do you want to do? When I went to him first, I think I had just 2 scenes of the entire Dashavataram in my frame, which is probably the first thing that you all really liked, the pot and the plate segment that we used to depict Kurma Avataram. And also a very highly experimental part in the entire dance drama, which was the Balaram Avataram, where I wanted to create, a Western influence in music, and then a very Indian, Eastern dance element over there, which we pulled off pretty well, and I'm so happy and proud of the whole episode. Unni, what do you want to say?
The whole project has been, I would say it was more of a challenge to Shyama in the first place, because this is about running a school concert while making sure that a quality production comes out of it, while also making sure that some of those deeper aspects of not just how the visual and the sound grandeur of it comes along, she also wanted to make sure that there is a deeper message that goes into the audience. So this is not something that is merely for the parents to watch their kids on stage, but something that as an audience you take away, you feel enriched. So this is how she explained the project to me. Now what do we do? Like, I'm already bouncing the choreography ideas and everything with the girls, and then these are the things that I have in mind. So we need something innovative. This is where, so if it's specifically about Balaram Avataram, that was like, it sounded really crazy to me in the first place. So like, okay, so I am someone who come from more of a traditional background of music, or rather, of course, I listen. I'm a big fan of world music, but as a performer, I've done nothing but semi-classical, and recently started learning Hindustani and all that. But my passion about music is what I believe what made Shyama come to me about and talk about this. And also, yes, I have my own interest in exploring the spiritual, the philosophical realms as well. But yeah, I was completely spellbound listening to the whole thing coming together. And then on is how the lyrical aspects of it started, and I started writing, and then Shyama was like, hey, this looks good, how would it look with a tune to it? And that's how the whole thing started. I mean, do you want me to go on? Then I can explain the whole thing, but yeah.
I just want to add something to that, because
Sure.
from an audience point of view, I've seen Dashavataram productions before, but usually when you see such productions, Balaram is not a character which has been given much stage.
Yeah.
So I really was so interested when I saw the way you actually portrayed Balaram as a connection or a representation of the civilization, So that was really interesting. So the lyrics, the way it was depicted on the stage with Balarama, with the Kalapa, and also, the second aspect was the way the Geetopadesham was staged as well. Because again, I know that Unni and you are behind the concept, and because Geetopadesham is one scene which can get exaggerated, and then people can get lost there, because you can lose the audience, because you're building up the tempo till there, and then if you bring the dance elements to that, it doesn't do justice to the shloka. But if you do justice to the shloka, it doesn't bring the justice to the audience, as in you are losing the audience. But you actually connected it so well and brought it together so well, and that was like a moment when we were all sitting silent and just watching.
So would you agree that dance brought justice to the shloka?
Yes.
Now I'm curious to know that.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, so I just want to know, from a conceptual point of view, how did you both come to that, both those segments?
You want to start?
Yeah, see, so you rightly pointed out, there are two parts to it. But the way that I see this is one of those rare opportunities to collaborate at multiple levels, that you iterate and then you keep on doing that, and then at some point I started learning more about Shyama as a person. And because everything that happens here is about Shyama's journey as well. So this is about her own journey into understanding avatars, and then the spiritual evolution of, as she herself explained rightly, right? I mean, we've also discussed this at length. So this is where it all starts, and then how this transcends into music actually became a freedom for me as well. I mean, to operate, because it was more than understanding the conventionality of what we are discussing. This is about understanding Shyama's own desire to express this out there. And then I, again bounces with Shyama, and she was like, hey, there is this chandasa, and then this mathematics that you have to follow up to a certain point, and from there on, there is a section where the realization, the awakening actually happens, and I want the audience to connect with it, rather than getting the audience into some conventional setting of music and expressions. I want to make sure that we leverage whatever is available today in terms of technology and sound and music to get the audience, because the audience has also changed, right? They are no longer listening to the gramophones and concepts such as that. They are used to the modern way of exposing to music, and they are used to the elated sense that you get watching movies and everything. So this is what Shyama brought to me as a challenge. This is your challenge, take it on. And also that was the Geetopadesham part mainly. And about Balarama as well. There is a part in the lyric where it was more about the river's pride and Balarama as the Avataram, who were interacting with each other. But the choreography complemented in a way that the story that is reflected by the lyric is not what is evolving on the stage.
Yeah, the choreography was already planned when I'm giving him this concept. I'm telling him, see, I want, this set of girls, who are very proud, sassy in their teens, who will be moving in this form. That's the arrogance with which they talk, a river starting its journey, some like all of us, when we are young, we think everything's something that we can conquer. We don't think about anything else. And what more can I, how much more beautifully can I depict it with my beautiful girls, who can just be there flowing into that space. So I told him that. But then, like what you said, Balarama Avatar is usually brushed aside. But then when you look at the concept of evolution, Balarama has a very significant role over there, like, as an agriculturalist, where humans started settling down, by riverbanks, and then they starting to, form civilizations around that area. So it was a very significant point where, I couldn't take it out if I had to also compensate for the evolution, the aspect that I wanted to portray over there. So it just beautifully blend in with the concept that I wanted to put up there, more than being an avatar or a god person over there. It was more about connecting it to evolution and showing what could have been done. I was skeptical about the whole aspect, because if you look at mythology, or if you read the stories, it may not be exactly as is in the story. But I think that is the beauty of Indian literature. I think Sanatana Dharma has always given us the wings to fly, read, interpret, and move on with it, rather than read, understand, and stick to this concept. So I've had the freedom to understand that, okay, this is what I have read, but then I can interpret it. So it is an interpretation that helped me, that freedom that I can interpret is what gave me wings to think like that. But in terms of the Geetopadesham as well, like, I should confess, I'm not the ultimate authority when it comes to Gita, but then I do try my bit to understand. But like when my students are here, I must tell you, it's not something that I used to practice, or I'm not a ardent reader, or I've never been that. The first time I've ever had to read or learn the Bhagavad Gita was actually for a school competition when we were not allowed to go for dance because I was in year 12. And in year 12, the teachers, suggest that you focus on academics and don't go for dance. And for the person I am, you can imagine, right? No going for dance. I want to go for the youth festival. I want to do something. So the only option they gave was, you have to, if you want to go for the competition, you can do Bhagavad Gita chanting. And I had no background in Sanskrit. I did have through my dance, but then I was never a student of Sanskrit in school. So I went and told the teacher that I want to do Bhagavad Gita, and she was like, do you know how to read Sanskrit? I'm like, it's close to Hindi, I can give it a try. My dad speaks certain Sanskrit shlokas, I've heard him say something, so I can give it an attempt. But it was just from there, surprisingly, I went on to win a prize then, which gave me the confidence and motivation. So that was the only thing, in terms of, maybe an orthodox setup or, understanding some sort of Hindu scripture. But beyond that, it was the fun of being, participating in a youth festival that actually lured me into learning something like that. I think we all learn these kind of things with a kind of purpose. But moving on, like I recently also had to, I pushed myself into another, chanting episode where I went and learned the Bhagavad Gita again. But teaching somebody, it was such a refreshing experience. When you see it all there, it looks very nice. But then the episode of, getting Unni to chant. Initially, it was not Unni who was supposed to chant. It was somebody else who was supposed to chant. And then I said, Unni, I think we don't have the time. I want you to do that. Okay, it's being recorded at my home at 1 a.m. On a Friday night. And I'm telling him, had this been at 7 a.m., I would have done this for my yoga class instead of, sitting and chanting at 1 a.m. at night. Okay, the recording went on till about 3:30. But this man's patience, like me, he also doesn't have too much exposure into Sanskrit or the pronunciations, the Alpa Prana and everything. But the kind of respect and intense will to learn, you must admire it in, whoever you see it. And this guy has that. The patience with which he would sit and say, is that pronunciation correct? Dha, ma, pa, all of those, alphabets, how many times we had to go through it. But with the patience with which he actually sat through that was such a humbling experience for me. But beyond that, there was this part, like all that was the Upatesham bit where Krishna was saying. We left the Arjuna bit even then and decided that, okay, the Arjuna bit is going to happen later. But eventually, that also had to be recorded in this guy's voice. So Arjuna is speaking, Krishna is speaking, everything is in Unni's voice. Now, how did that happen? Again, we don't have the time, Unni. I think you will have to do it. So then the voices are, right next to each other. The other one is in Anushtup Chandas, and then, they're all going. Upadesham can be, a sing-song, like a teaching pattern. Okay, I don't mind following that. But then when Arjuna is seeing Krishna, how would Arjuna see Krishna? And we have Puja here. Puja was depicting Arjuna over there. So it's nice that, we have Puja's presence here as well. This is as narrated by Sanjaya, that Arjuna is watching Krishna. And we all know that what Arjuna sees is not something that a person can see with mere eyes. So that description has a lot of emotion. So until then, in my mind, what was picturized as one frame of dancers dancing, Krishna, Arjuna frozen in a frame, I told this guy, create something where there is emotion, okay, where you see this. And then what happens is this man creates one of the most beautiful pieces. You will all agree to that. And then I'm sitting there frozen. I'm telling him, Unni, now I'm thinking for my school. I'm thinking for my children. If I put this, people are just going to close their eyes and sit there. I can't let that happen. I need to do something. And then I give Pooja's mama call and I'm telling her, you know what? Pooja can't do this role. I'm going to pull her into this one because she needs to come here and act over here. So, sometimes it just flows and falls in place. Pooja, do you want to share how it all happened with you?
For the Arjuna scene, I was so blessed that Shamandi gave me this role. firstly, the music was the most beautiful thing ever, and thank you so much. Like when I was listening to it, I was like, this is beautiful, and thank you so much for that. But yeah, in terms of doing the role, my mum told me like after dance class once, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. Shamandi, she taught me the piece, and genuinely, obviously we know she's a beautiful dancer, but I was brought to tears when she danced and showed me the piece, because for me, learning what the scene meant, because I'm not in that
Familiar in the context.
familiar. So when Shamandi taught me that and made me understand it, I was like, wow, this is such a touching piece, and she showed it. She depicted it so well in her in practice. So I was like, I need to practice just like Shama teacher. So for me, yeah, it was a really, really good role. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, just thank you for that. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing your experience, Pooja. I will go back to Uni because, such a amazing stage is not possible without having the right music, the sound, the lighting, because you spoke about an audience, right? The evolving, audience. So, I mean, this is a big stage with 500 plus people. And the person who is sitting at the very last seat also felt the experiences which was showcased on the stage. So that would not be possible without having that amazing stage and the lighting and the sound. And so can you just explain how you guys manage the whole thing?
Oh, this time's event production had a gem of a finding, and that is Alex Seton. I am so grateful for having Alex Seton in the family now. Wow, he was one of those persons who vibed so well with us. You give him an idea, he would bounce off just the way you want it, and give you extra flavors for it. That is what he was. In terms of lighting, I'll leave it to Alex Seton now.
Especially from an audience point of view, that Balari Mandharam, the last stage where the Shiva comes, that gave us goosebumps, and the Kalki, the dooms, and every stage. But I think the Balari Mandharam was the highlight of the whole event. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Actually, yeah, basically how this started was Shama called me and we had a small talk at one of his students' house. So I was trying to understand. Basically, when normally the dance school does a production, I don't know how big it will go and what she may be expecting, maybe a small little thing. That's what I was thinking. But when I told her, okay, I'll help you out. But when she started explaining things, then I understood there is a room to improve a lot of things. That there's a lot of creativity can be brought in and a lot of things can be done. Then we had a first discussion. Then she showed me all those things what she's expecting. I need some help with the props, snakes, few other things and all. Okay, all those things started. Then it started hearing the music from Muni. That changed everything. That's where I think I might have heard it more than 100 times. That's how the game changed. I tried to listen in my car while I was driving always, and then I give him a call. Okay, this is what I'm expecting with this one. Then I discuss with Shama. This is how the scene I see myself. Then we call again, discuss whether that's what she's expecting and all those things. And we had a lot of other meetings. Then I was trying to confirm whether what I dream of is the same as what she's expecting. That's the basic thing of lighting and the props and the production is actually the thing is that in a movie or a film, when you want to highlight something, we actually show the close-up view. But in a stage, there is no close-up. How do you bring that character into the highlight? And the thing is that if it's a drama, when a dialogue is delivered, that is the character important. But you got 20 people, 30 people standing in the crowd, where the people has to look for. This is the important character. We want your attention to that person, not the 20 people on the thing. That is where the how the lighting and props and everything comes into play.
Yeah, amazingly put together. But a stage is not complete, without the coordination which happens on the stage, because from an audience point of view, it was never-ending flow of things to see on the stage, because it's not easy in a play to change props and bring the characters onto the stage, because you generally put the curtains down and then you have enough time, and then the audience are waiting for the next scene. But from an audience point of view, we were just mesmerized by the whole thing, because there was not even 1 minute where you could just switch off and, what are they going to show next? There was no time. And it was a constant flow. And this is from tiny tots, from 5-year-olds to 55-year-olds. So I'm just wondering, how did you even manage to coordinate, such a flow of this characters? And this 5-year-old who were dressed, they couldn't even walk properly, in their dress and the gear. And they were all dancing on the stage, smiling and dancing. And, how did you pull this off?
Well, that's where Smriti Chichi, I'm backed by this amazing team. So the biggest find from last concert was Praja. My last production was Sulu. So I had given the parents an opportunity to volunteer to be behind stage. So my first project Praja was, now when I think about it, it was a cakewalk. I think none of them knew what exactly is going to transpire on stage other than me. Uni was involved in the music. He didn't know what the dances were. The ladies here, my coordinators knew what was happening in the dance side, one part of it, but then, it never came together until that day. But then in my mind, I had a plan and I knew my seniors can take care of it. But this year, I was freaking out. I was super freaking out, to the extent that, however I designed my play, however I designed this production, every time I think about it, I can't, play each of these sequences one after the other without a glitch, unless there is a team to support me. And when I say a team, there were around 15 people working behind stage. Okay, I had to, choose Sulu. I had to choose so many of them, all their mums, Sia's mum, Pooja's mum. They've all been there, so many other mums, who have been a part of that team. But that team is ready to do anything. The challenges that these ladies had were to change somebody in 90 seconds. 90 seconds and get them back on stage. And they pulled it off like a breeze. Okay, when I say breeze, I know what storm was happening behind stage. I will leave it to Sulu to explain what it was. The chaos behind was not felt forward. But that was because they managed that chaos so well.
Yeah, I would say, thank you for making me be part of this huge show, first of all. As a parent, first of all, I would say for 1 year to learn so much, not just dance, but with this, the idea of what Dashavataram is was a huge thing. Because I myself have to go and see what it is and understand what it is, and later teach her to understand what the whole sequence was. But with the Backstage, I would say, as you said, you did not switch off anytime. It's exactly the same. We did not switch off anytime. It's not just 15 of us, it's all the kids. Everybody, even the kutties were in charge of each other. I was amazed by seeing that. Amount of in charge they took of each other, let's sit down here, let's practice that, let's wear chalanga, let's adjust the dress. They were not even looking at any adults there, can you help me with anything? So I was myself looking at that, I was like, oh, too good. And then with the Backstage dress change, yes, there was 30 seconds change. And then we were getting, stressed with, one has to change from another, you have to get that prop to another person. So where is the other person? I have to get that off to this person. So everything went seamless because we all planned it. And it was all because of Shama. Shama just kept telling us, no, this is how it is. But she also gave us the freedom. This is what it is, ladies. This is how it need to look like. You try and take in charge and then decide what you want to do. And then we all sat down and we just decided to keep everything on its place. And then every time they come in, you stand there and you stand near the stage, you stand, on the Backstage, and then we coordinated it so well because that's how she trained us, I would say.
So good to know that. And going back to the choreography, you mentioned about, how it was coordinated. I just wanted to touch upon the choreography as well, because as I said before, I've seen plays of Dashavataram before, but one thing which I always felt concerned when I watched was how are they going to end it, especially at the Kalki Avatara. And I think you and your senior dancers pulled it off really well, because something which can end in a sad note or a negative note, but it was sort of refined and presented as a reformation or a transformation. So I just want you to explain about the whole concept of, how did you come up with that?
So Kalki, yes, there is elements of, sorrow, destruction, feeling upset, but then it is a promise of renewal after all, okay? And if you look at the cycle of life, that is what it is. One has to perish to give life anew. So it is a cycle that we all have to accept, whatever it may be. In terms of the concept, I wanted very techno-modern elements into that music, because we are dealing with Kali Yuga, or the present or the future. So I didn't want the music to in any way sound similar to anything that we have heard of, or rather something that we usually hear on a traditional context. Now in terms of choreography, this is where as a teacher I feel very happy and proud at the same time, because these children that I've been training for over so many years, there now has come a time where I can just tell them something. I think the greatest compliment that I have actually received from, not for this show, but for another one, was that, Shyama, you know what, when you dance with your students, we see Shyama and many Kutti Shyamas dancing with you, which I feel very happy about, because I think, there is a little element of me that I'm sharing with everyone. And as long as I'm giving that genuinity in my element, I think it's transpiring to all of them. But in terms of this Kalki Avataram choreography, that was, it was the last phase, I was putting it together. And in terms of Kalki, there was more than one element. It was not just the dance, there was also lighting, there was also audio visual support, so many things coming into one frame. And in between that, there were so many other elements that I had to put together in other drama sequences. So there came a time when I had to coordinate too many people, too many groups. And this group that I have given Dashavataram to is one of my senior most batches. And I had to call them towards me. I started off teaching them, okay, girls, I want this concept of time. This is what I want. And I started teaching them one by one. Then I realized, Shyama, if you go in this pace, we are not going to finish it on this during this time, because we all work, we're all crunched on time. We don't have that kind of time and leverage that Indian dance production houses have. We all work within that little stipulated time. Everyone has something else to attend to. Everyone has to return. So all this is there. So keeping that, I had to just call my girls in and I said, listen, this is the music. This is what I want. This is how it'll move. This is where I want you to, fall or explode into a position, and then come back and do this kind of a thalam pattern. Come back, do this. You won't believe it. Siyakutty comes back and tells me, Shyama aunty, don't judge me. This is what she said. And I had to tell her, I'm your teacher, so it doesn't matter if I judge you or not. But, I'm so proud of what they delivered. Okay, it was completely like the concept. All I had to do was give them the concept. The rest was done by my girls. Siyakutty, why don't you tell me what it was like?
That's funny how I said that, because the reason we're showing you is for you to judge us. But no, I just want to go back to the fact that you said that when people look at us, they call us Kutti Shyamas, because I haven't been there for 10 years, but I've been at Prakalpa Samskruti for 8 years. And especially for me, I don't know about the others, but I learn a lot through observing other dancers. So just seeing Shyama aunty over those 8 years, I have been influenced by her. And of course, she's a beautiful dancer, and a lot of what I do is inspired by Shyama aunty. So when she sort of gave us this opportunity to choreograph something, I was stressed. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? People are going to judge me. This is huge. This is her 10th year concert. And she wants us to choreograph something for her. I was very scared. But at the same time, I was excited. And I was so proud that, she trusts us now. And we're at that stage that she can give us such a huge responsibility, and she can just trust us with it. And I think that really reflects how we've grown as dancers. Because, we came in when we were so young, and now we're all older uni students, and now we're able to choreograph something for Shamanti. And it was challenging because obviously, as you saw, the Kalki concept was different to the usual traditional dances that we do. And then we've brought in that essence of contemporary into the choreography. And I remember Shamandi sitting us down and telling us, so first we're going to have this, clock ticking thing, and then you're going to come in and you're all going to be very sad, you're looking for things, you're lost, and at the end you all come in as one Kalki. And I love the fact how every one of us was so switched on. We're like, okay. And then as soon as we started choreographing, we were all, we all had these ideas. And then we were like, how we're going to work with props. And that whole discussion was happening within the group. And at that moment, I realized that we've grown. And this is the reason that we're doing this 10th year concert. Because it's not just about giving a great show, because it's about, seeing how much we've grown as dancers. So yeah, thank you, Shamanti, for giving us that opportunity, even though it was extremely stressful. I had fun.
I'm so proud of it. And yes, Yakuti, but the thing is you did feel stressed, but let me assure you that going forward, we will have many more of such opportunities and, possibilities of my children doing things. But I'll assure you that at that time, the level of stress will definitely come down and the level of excitement to take up something new will be more higher. Now, when Sulu said that, my kutis were doing a great job behind stage, you don't know what these little people are capable of, It's fascinating how they listen to instructions. They are able to, understand that, and they're able to, deliver what is expected of them. I think the one problem that we usually do is, not treating them as a person, and rather, dismissing them as, somebody not capable of, listening through instructions. Yes, there are certain children who may not be able to, but then a vast majority of kids are able to, if you tell them in their language, able to understand what is expected of them. For the last 3-4 months, this has been, put into their heads that, you are going to be a part of a big concert. So it's very interesting how they would be, 500 people? 500 people? Are we going to dance in front of them? So, since then the seed has been in their head, it's there, they are growing on it, and I'm like, you know what? The chechis are responsible to bring you here. If the chechis come and tell me that, you're not been listening, then it's going to be very upsetting for me. Shamanti is going to be very sad. And they'll be like, no, Shamanti, we will listen to you. And, within them, they were self-managers. And see, at the end of the day, okay, maybe you're running a dance school, but what are we doing for them? How is dance playing a part in their personality? How are they being shaped? Because at the end of the day, I don't know how many of my students are going to turn out to be dance teachers, but what I would want them to be is a better human being, somebody capable of being considerate. And that is what I see in my, senior children, when they said that they were all switched on, they were all, in it together. What I felt is whether it was Sulu sharing her experience behind stage or my, kutis here, sharing what it was like behind stage. I think the greatest blessing of our school right now is that there is no particular one leader or there is no definitive one answer. There may be a definitive one goal, okay, but there is no one person is only right. Anybody can be right, and everybody, if there is a common right, we all stand together for that cause. And there, whether it is Sulu coming and telling me, Shama, you've got to go on stage right now, I will not question her on that. If Sulu has told me, or if Sheila Chichi gets angry with me, that is it. I have to go on stage means I have to go on stage, because they have been entrusted with that task. And over there is no, I am the leader of this place, or she gave me this task. There is nothing like that. And there were so many moments of breakdown behind stage, Sulu. I think it never transpires to the front, but then the moments of breakdown that we have had between that show, I think at one pace, everyone had to, like when the girls had the pot and the plate, we had 27 girls with plates and pot. I think that must be a first time in Australia.
Yes, I have never seen something like that.
You don't know the amount of prayer that was being chanted behind stage, amount of tears that were flowing, just seeing them. And somewhere a teacher standing there and thinking, it's gonna go through. It's gonna be fine. And you know, I had nothing else in my mind. You know, it was just sheer confidence that I had in my children, and they pulled it through.
See, this is based on a conversation I have with Sheila Chechi, with Sharina Chechi and all. All of them believe unanimously that there is a big bit of the divine grace in Shama. Which is the
Absolutely.
reason.
Yeah.
No, they
I
say.
would agree with that.
They say.
Cut.
No.
I don't think I should, ever say that is correct.
No, this is not for you
it
to
is
say.
in all of us.
This is not for you to say. But then again, see, yeah, of course, go on.
Touch wood. I would agree to that.
Yeah.
Because I even told her, like, the amount of people that you have around you, it is all good aura. It's like good vibe. Like you have it because you are such a person. And I have to say that. I definitely have to say that.
That shows an amazing teamwork and
They're being too kind. I think I'm blessed in this life to have people like that around me. And what else? Like it must be the good things that my ancestors have done. That I'm able to attract that kind of goodness towards me. But then divinity and all, let that be there.
No, I just want to,
Sorry. To be very specific, there is a reason why I wanted to say that, especially the mention of the pot and the plate. The amount of prayers that was going on, and the fact that anything can go wrong, because they're all students of dance, and the way I understand, because this is also based on what I saw out there.
But
So it's challenging.
my girls struggled. They did it, and of course they all were touched by a grace that let them go through.
Sure.
I just want to point out one thing, which I'm just watching you all chip in to this conversation and sort of push and tell and try to make Shama understand that there is a divine grace. I believe that's true because having 100+ dancers on stage and volunteers and people backstage, if you don't have that divine grace and blessing, no matter how much coordination and things you have, it's not going to go smooth. So I accept what they have said now, and not just that. I mean, what I have seen is you have created a safe space for these people, from 5-year-old to 50-year-old, someone who been trained under you for the last 10 years, someone who has never been on stage before, some others who have been a housewife for, I don't know, maybe 20 years, and then they would have come to the stage for the first time. And I could see that you haven't discriminated anyone. You have given everyone their stage. You've given everyone a space to perform and do their best. And that is actually bringing the society and the community together. And that's not a small thing. And that doesn't happen without divine intervention. So I'm just amazed to see how you have actually, through your school and through your dedicative work, how you have brought this many people together. And it's just not the dancers or the students, it's the families. So as you said, it's a Prakalpa Samskruti has grown as a family of more than 200, 300 people now. And especially the people who have stood with you as volunteers. Because I've seen those chechis running around, trying to, usher the guest in from the door to the green room. And I've seen some of the footages, which was shared by the friends. I mean, how things which could have gone wrong, absolutely wrong in the green room. It was well coordinated by all your team members. So I mean, that's not a small thing, So you have brought the community together, and I
I'd say
think
we have grown together. We have I never envisioned the school to be where it is. Then when I started it, all I wanted was I did my master's in dance. I wanted to be a performer. I just wanted to continue in art. Okay, and here the only option I had was, there's no mainstream performance avenue, so I had to resort to teaching dance for a living. And that's how I started the dance school. And, the Skuti, Puja Kuti and all were my first students. So she joined when she was younger than my daughter now. She joined when she was 6 and all of 16 and pretty. There she is, making me proud as Arjuna over there on stage. It's something that evolved to be what it is today. It was never, it was not like when they say that, okay, I got them all together. I started a school, yes, but then eventually it became something that everybody owns. I'm happy. Like it doesn't. It's not within my grasp anymore, but in a happy way. I feel that everyone connects to this feeling right now, and this is what we can be. Or like again, I think we're all being human. More than anything else, we're all being human, and we're all sharing some commonality and joy. As a migrant, I know what can be the things that we all go through. The kind of struggles that everyone faces. As a woman, I can imagine what each of our stories are different. But yes, from all those different stories, I have realized that being here sometimes without support, sometimes I've been questioned on teaching adult batches. Why do you have to teach adult batches when you have such amazingly beautifully talented young girls to teach and who can carry on a legacy? But I think my purpose is beyond creating a legacy of dancers. I don't know, see, dance is an evolving attribute. I've had an experience of learning from various teachers for various reasons. I've had to travel, and along with my travel, I've had opportunities. I would now call that opportunities to learn with various teachers, and that has only made me what I am today. So in the same way, I think for my children, especially my adult students, when they get an opportunity to perform, or when they get to a space where they can explore themselves, understand that this is a space where I can be me, I can express myself, I can relate to the other women around me. This is what we can give back to our community, right? Like it's not just that I am giving back. You must have also realized that what this community means to me. For me, this is my family. Yikes. No, because I know that there have been situations when when you're so immersed in work, you don't have time. Like including my family. My daughter is learning from all the chechis now. She's a single child, but then I'm so blessed to have these chechis that she's looking up to, and I know that somewhere as a mother there is a plight. I can never teach her dance alone at home. But then the chechis are taking care of her now. And that is how it is. Like, had we been in a big family setup in India, this is what would have happened. And now this is, a little cubicle, a little bubble that we are creating where, our children are flourishing or, nourishing each other. My children, love each other and, give each other the space. The other beauty was that, one of the mother was telling me, our children, if one of them was on stage doing a main character role, there was, at least a few of them standing behind stage and say, I'm so proud of her. Look at her. She's doing it. And see, there is nothing more heartwarming than having a space like that, where each of us celebrate each other's victories and, little joys. This is what we all need, in life. I think anything beyond that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, very well put together, Shama. And I agree. It's a safe space. It's a brave space, because for many people, it's a brave space to just come forward and do stuff. And I just want to touch upon what Shrikuti said about choreographing, because Shama. I mean, you are a migrant. I'm a migrant. We have seen performance back in India, and we have seen some traditional performances. So one of the things which stood out in the whole play was the way the characters were portrayed on the stage, with the amazing costumes and the makeup, and I could see that it was carefully handpicked, because from the girl standing with the pot, because it was not fully traditional, it was sort of a semi-classical one, and especially the costume of Arjuna, Balrama, a bit of Thai element to that, to the crown. Shiva, and each and every character sort of stood out, because we could see how carefully the costumes were picked up and how it was portrayed. So if you can touch upon that a little bit.
Well, in terms of costume, I like what you said. What you noticed was right. Like Kuchipudi being done with that kind of especially the pot and plate segment. I don't think I have ever seen someone use it in that context. But I just felt as an artist, we have the liberty to explore where can we use it, and there was nothing more befitting for Kurmavataram than this. It was a highly experimental piece. I feared my seniors or my teachers and my gurus and all, raising an eyebrow and saying, what is this? Because it's not a traditional context. But what is traditional context? Like, if you look at what has been written in the text, it's like what you said, Ankikam, Vachikam, Aharyam, everything, Satvikam. I think we have touched upon every element as there in, our texts, not calling out a particular text though. But like what you noticed, we did have elements of Indonesian influence. But then, okay, when you call Indonesian influence, when did all this continent and everything split, and when did we all start becoming different? This was all like, there is a lot of Hinduism or aspects of Hinduism in Indonesia. So these are all things that I sourced just for this kind of a event. And I'm glad that people have observed that there are elements that are handpicked. But then when it comes to during this phase, when I had to choose colors and costumes, there is a time when I start hating colors because of the number of colors and the orders that I have to think about, this one after this one. But then what makes it interesting this year was the amount of stress that I beautifully handed over to my team, which they very beautifully executed. You can ask Sulu what happened behind stage. We had limited props, and with that we had to make do. She'll tell you what it was like.
Yeah, definitely. So she did have the costumes for all the dances, but then as you noticed, 26 dancers on the stage with pots and different costume. They all have to get changed in the backstage, and the time was like so limited. So everybody was changed, and it is not just the costume. Nobody would have noticed this. It is the wig. So everybody had different wigs for everything. So we did not remove the jewels.
Shiva had 90 minutes, 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Hence she was placed near the stage.
She had the pot and plate. And then the team.
Yes, so we had a team there to look after just for her. So she had to do the hair, she has to get all these jewels up, and then wig has to fit in, and then she had to put all the costume, whatever she had to remove it and change it to the whole thing. And it is the same with Narsimha or anyone. So they all were like, they didn't stop in the stage. As soon as they're out of the stage, they will start removing and they will rush to the room.
Yeah, I don't think we had time to go backstage. It was all done, set up side stage for us to do it.
Yeah.
For me, I was reliving my, childhood days, because I remember as an artist, like back in India, back in Kerala, when I used to dance, we used to, like, how often we used to do temple shows. And then at that time, we would be learning Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Mohiniyattam, everything from the same teacher perhaps. And then there would be times when, you have to go behind stage. And then there'll be a time and be like, oh, I can't change here, people are here. And then, the pressure that your teacher is going to call your name out and you have to be there. So it doesn't matter what, you have to change. And there I could see my girls, they were like, in a snap, they were ready to, take care of things. They were ready to change. And, there was a, group of mums who were taking care of the props, putting it back in place. Alex Ayrton's team was behind stage, taking, making sure that it's safe for the artist to move around, So even that is important. Every aspect has been looked into. And I'm so glad that, the chaos behind did not reflect to the front and in...
No, when we were time coding this, right, with Chama, so and then it's like, okay, so you've got 90 seconds. You sure? Chama's like, yes, costume
yes.
change, 90 seconds. And it's like, it's like changing the tires of the Ferrari during the F1 race. That's how quick this whole thing's got to be. And it's like, leave it with me. I've got the confidence.
But you still thought...
I said I've got a team.
Yeah, but you still thought, Unni, it is just the costume. You did not think the whole hair has to be changed. So until I told you now. So it is a huge thing. But I would say it is not just the volunteer, it's the kids, like, the senior kids who performed. They know their responsibility. They took their responsibility. They know what they need to wear. They know what to ask. And, they know what time they need to reach back. The amount of time she would have trained them, like, we did not know. We knew it is 90 minutes, 90 seconds. But then they were like ready in like 60 seconds or 30 seconds. But if they wouldn't have done it, we would have struggled too.
But the mums had so much planning. Like I remember my mum was also part of the team, so she was doing meetings and everything, like late night, planning out the order of how things are gonna work. And if you go and look into the dressing room, everything's organized. This is for this Dashavataram, that's for that Avataram, and it's all like so organized. So it was so easy for us. We would just run from stage and then everything's set. And I have like 3 mums changing me at the same time. So yeah. It was very organized.
That's so fantastic to know from a backstage perspective, because we haven't seen any of this chaos in from a audience point of view. So I just want to ask Pooja, right? Because you've been with Shyama for the last 10 years, right? So how have you seen? I mean, from your point of view, you would have seen Shyama evolve during the last 10 years, and just for
You're asking a 6-year-old to tell about a teacher who have evolved.
I'm just amazed by the way the whole thing was carried out, and because I know there could have been moments of stress where things just doesn't go as planned, but from an audience point of view, we don't feel it. So I just want you to tell me, I mean, how have you seen your teacher evolve in the last 10 years and up to now?
Okay, so for all of us, I feel like Dashavataram was a milestone. It was a big milestone that we achieved. But if we rewind back 10 years, Shyama teacher was genuinely, like, for me, when I joined dance, along with all my friends, we were joining dance because our parents put us into it. We were 6 years old, yeah? Shyama teacher made all of us, I've asked all my friends, made all of us enjoy the dance form. She teaches us skills. She instills, like, techniques into us. But truly her behavior and everything about her just makes you as a dancer, like, look forward to that class. So I feel like Shyama teacher, from 10 years ago, I don't have that good memory of a 6-year-old, but she's truly been, like, for me, the whole time, the most genuine person. And I'm just, like, so excited to dance because of her. And I feel like in that time in Melbourne, modern Melbourne, for you doing dance, it's like a different thing, right? So for me, I was just like, oh man, this is different. I don't know if I want to do this. But I come to class and Shyama teachers made me proud of doing this dance form, and it all coming together in Dashavataram was, it's like, I'm a part of this. My school's a part of this. Shyama teacher is a part of this, and it's something we all are, like, really proud about. So I think, yeah, what you asked me, Shyama teacher, how she's changed, she's basically never changed. She's still an amazing person, growed beautifully, like, she's amazing. But yeah, I have to just say,
I think I have, learned to become more like, I've known them more than, my own daughter. So they are my children. And, right now I'm in that space where, they're 16. I can be a little more of myself. I can, show my weakness and my weak moments to them. And they're there, we are together. Like, they come home, we sleep, for sleepovers, for dance practices. And it's so much fun sitting with, all these girls. Like, I put them through torture, like, they're being sweet, I've made them wake up at 5 a.m., started, doing jogging in the morning at 6 a.m., started making them do 7 a.m. yoga classes before we go into, and then breakfast, we all come together to do breakfast, because of course Shyama can't just make breakfast for everybody, but we all did some sort of stuff, but it is so much, like, this is the environment that, but I must admit that, I did get a little inspiration from you, like 8 years back when I had come to Townsville to do a show that you had invited me for. I remember you saying you should do, residencies and workshops. And ever since then, I actually built a home where, I have the space to create that kind of thing. But yes, due to the pressure of concerts, I've had multiple times when, my children had to travel to this side, stay over at home, learn dance, live with me for a day or two. But then just as, they have learned something from it. For me, it's been, it's like connecting to my family, like my children. And they have seen my weakest points, they've seen me breaking down. And I admit that I don't feel bad breaking down in front of them, because they know me, just like I know them.
I mean, I can see from the conversations here that you've made a big family, a lot of connections, a lot of personal connections, and I can see that Sulu was there to take off the stress from a stage perspective, and Alex Chaitan was there to just handle the rest of thing, and Unni was your creative partner, in the whole thing. So I mean, how did all this evolve? Like, how did that relationship evolve and build out of it? I mean, there could have been times when, I mean, you said you had times when you broke down. I mean, how did it all?
Oh, I can break down right now as well, right? No, it's when I say evolve, you feel the vibe with certain people, and then you connect them. Like in terms of Sulu, like Sulu was like a big find. Like I've only seen Sulu until Vraja. I've only seen Sulu as a parent to one of my students. But during Vraja, I got to see how switched on this person is, and how she's capable of taking care of the backstage. One responsibility I gave her, and I knew that she would do anything to get that there. And that was a relatively easier production. So this time when I had Sulu in, I said, Sulu, I want you to be here in this point. And the good thing is, like this time we all got together much earlier. So right from the planning, like Sulu did notice, like over the years, where is it that, we are lagging? Sulu came back and told me, Shama, makeup area is where, we always, like I struggle to get, all my students ready, because I want to do their makeup. I want to make them look in a particular way, and I try doing it for everyone.
I will have to stop her there. Yes, I will have to stop her there. Why? Because when she said she had to do the makeup, she really means that. I still don't know how many kids she has, 100 or 200, but she ends up doing all the makeup, and she has gone tired, and she has even gone to that fainting bit where we have to pick her up and say, okay, do you want some drink? That's where she goes, and I keep telling her, okay, after the show, or before the show, are you ready with this? Do you have anyone doing this? Can we get someone from outside? And she would be like, no, we can do it. But this time I said, no, we can't do it. We need someone do this. Like, then that's when
our
I think
senior girls. This time, like I felt like our senior girls, they've all grown with me. Like they've done so many shows, like over the last 1 year, like just 2024, our school has done about 24 shows. That is at least 2 shows a month. Like, and I think majority of them have been done by my senior girls. So like now they are like, we go for shows together. They do their makeup, I do my makeup, and what a relief it is, So this time I chose to say that my girls are going to be on that role. I had 10 of my girls, all of them, so switched on. They were there right from 10 a.m. in the morning when they themselves have to perform. They would just stand there, do whatever it takes to, complete all that makeup. And like what Sulu said, calling somebody from outside, I don't know, I'm very possessive in a way about my family, and I love my family. I like to keep it contained, and I also want to give them that opportunity. So I think we have the talent within. I don't think we have to look out. See, now Chaitan is also our family. I hope you agree.
Actually, I like to be in this family. Actually, it's very good. Actually, I never expected, and it's in such a way, but it's very good. I like the creativity of the main thing, because I was also born in a family where art is the main thing. My dad is an artist, so I also draw, paint, and everything. So, but when I came over here, that's the main lag we found. That's where I jumped into because I'm an engineer by field. So I tried to connect the technical aspect with the art in it, So that's where we slowly, in the last 23 years before, it's a blank space here. From there, what performance, what we see, what stage so the kids will feel proud to be there. That's where the Indian culture we want to grow. That's the main thing. So I feel so proud that Shama takes that initiative. We all just follow her. And be a part of it to create amazing cultural things, so that the next generation feel proud of,
Do you know what we put this power man through? I would have meetings with the chechis and everybody until about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And then me and Oni would, sit with this Chaitan. He has to report to work at 6 a.m. We'd put him into that kind of stress. He used to work until 1:30 when, halfway through he'd be like, okay, everything's fine. But man, the dedication that people have to, see through this thing. That is why I'm saying, JJ, this is not me or Unni, or it is not just a dance school. This is what belongs to all of us equally. Nobody, nothing less for anyone.
So I'm just wondering, how did you and your team sort of bring all this element together in this fantastic play? Because it was a perfect balance of all these elements. Because traditional, at the same time, modern, incorporating all the modern techniques, and also very much conveying to the general audience. So I just want to understand how did this.
I think staying true to the art was one of the most easiest things, and especially because I have this academic dance background. What we understand is the more we read about whatever has been written in our texts, the more we understand that what people call as tradition might be only something that has been there for the last 100 years. See, if you look at a traditional dance context, like with all the colonization and all that has evolved, a post-colonization is what people now practice as dance, and they call it tradition. I agree, there is a tradition to it, yes. But when you further look into texts, there is scope for everything. What you saw there, what usually we don't do in classical dance context, I can very confidently say that every element that you have seen there is a part of classical dance movement repertoire. So whether it was my students doing cartwheel or their neck movement, which looked very modern, all this has been very clearly described in our text, and I'm only happy that I'm able to explore this because I have that background where I read, and I have seen that this is all there, and it is only about reading, understanding, and interpreting, adding to that vocabulary, and it is not my finding. It is already there. It's only for us to explore, use them. And what I have noticed is that, people fear, even I did fear initially, coming from India, with that very, strong orthodox, I wouldn't call it traditional, I'll call it orthodox background where you are expected to follow this and this is it. Staying within true to your roots, how can you explore other elements? Like, especially for children here, how many hours of dance practice do they get? Like, while in India, we do dance every day. Like, that it was a part of, coming back from school, go to dance class. That was a very regular occurrence. But then here, when they complete 10 years with me, in a year, they get 40 hours of dance class. Maybe, a few more extra, like when they come and, spend the day with me and all that. But beyond that, a regular student that's what they get. So within that context, how can we make this something that they start liking? Okay, and children growing up here, like Siya Kuti and Apuja Kuti told me that, see, at one point they start questioning, why am I learning traditional dance forms? What am I gaining out of it? And how can I, connect to the community here with this? Which is why we explore music with world music. Like if I still use the same old kritis and kirtanams and all that, not that I'm not undermining them in any way. They are beautiful and evergreen, and my children are exposed to that. But also let them understand that, this dance can be, taken out of its traditional context that people talk about, or orthodox context that they talk about, and can also be placed here. You can integrate well within the society that you are in with your classical ability. Like it doesn't pull you down, it only empowers you. And this is a message that we need to put across to our children. Like, especially like when you said that, there are two kutis to even walk and they're already dancing. Yes, in the orthodox setup, they're not invited to dance. They're not asked to dance until they reach a particular age. But let me tell you, things have changed drastically in India. You see, all that happening in India as well. But here, see, had I had a choice, I would have also said, okay, let's wait. But here, to retain interest, this is the only way. They see the chechis perform. They see that, behind stage, this is how it functions. I'm supposed to go on stage. I'm supposed to develop this level of confidence. Here, we have also learned to understand little people as little people, rather than, dismissing them off. One day you will go up on stage, that patience may not be there. So, we have to accept that with times, we also have to evolve. Like, I'm not talking about, getting a 8-year-old to do Ranga Pravesham, but let them have that opportunity to present themselves on stage. Let them have that confidence to go up and face an audience, know how to behave there and come back. They learn self-respect, they learn, group teamwork, and they learn how to behave in a particular setting, which I think is, it's not about behaving, it's about how they are being. And that gives me immense satisfaction. So I think that's what I want to do.
The theatre play, we are not actually exploring the real theatre play over here. We are just trying to start doing it. It's very good that Shyama took that initiative, and the younger generation is also trying to accept it. You know, we got a lot of ideas, but if the people are not, or the crowd is not accepting, then we won't be doing it more and more. So it's good that people can accept it, and that was the doubt we also had, because we are trying to create a climax over here. The people will clap there, or whether that idea is actually transcended to people or not, whether they will, how they will take it, you know. So that's where the music was an important part. Uni's music, that's what we were saying, okay, this is the tempo what's coming, the hype is coming here. We'll try to create the things such a way. But all these we are trying to do, but whether the crowd will accept it or not, that's the question, you know. But we were happy that a lot of the things, generally, they got it. That's the main thing, you know. That's the theatre was trying to get it in the right way. Thank you.
Yeah, and for the younger generation, I think we touched on that. But when I went backstage, everyone, I feel like for modern Melbourne, it's just harder to focus yourself into this while everything else is going on. I go downstairs into the backstage room, and every single student, young ones, 5-year-olds, everyone's we have a mini TV screen in Monash, and they're all like, wow, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I walked in when it was like the Shiva scene, and everyone is so engaged, and I feel like we've really put like that through, and I feel like we've engaged not just the audience but also people who, in my opinion, wouldn't have been interested if it wasn't for all the effort that was put in.
Okay, so going back to what Pooja was mentioning about how the younger generation felt and how they were looking, you know, at the screen and, you know, feeling amazed, and what Alex Chaitan said about, you know, how to convey to the general audience, you know, the sort of theatrical experience, putting the traditional elements together on the stage with the choreography background and everything. I think one of the biggest challenges of you know, presenting epic on stage in a theater way is whether you can connect to the audience, because it's not just the element of the you know, spirituality which has to come across, the art, the finer expressions, everything has to come across. So in that way, yes, I know I've seen Shyama perform, so I know how wonderful a dancer she is, and the fact that she has made many kuti Shyamas, or you know, so sort of handing you know, handing over that legacy to a lot of artists in Melbourne. So that is an amazing thing, because we are all ambassadors of our culture overseas. We are all representing our nation and our, you know, culture and tradition in different ways, in different fields. So I think you've done an amazing work in not just bringing all these people together as a team to have this Dashavataram transcending the times. You know, it's also creating the perfection and dedication in each and every one of your team members and your artists, that they're all ambassadors of that culture now. So I just want to commend you, and you know, for that, because that's not an easy feast to bring it to that level, because it's something which can be like a like just a dance, bringing it in a theater form is really impactful. And I think because I had my friend Louise with me, she's an Australian, you know, first generation Australian, and she could understand, you know, the beginning when you said the story about the Dashavatara. And then she was actually mentioning, oh, now this is this avatar, oh, now this is this one. So from an audience point of view, I can say that, you know, you and your team has made it possible to connect the epic to the crowd, and I really want to thank, you know, each and every one of you to be, you know, putting that effort and the dedication to that. So do you want to talk about something which you know, about how you are, you know, spreading it across you know, the boundaries of our nation and bringing it over here?
Well, I'm just going to pick on something that you said in the beginning about creating Kutti Shamas. Though it gives me great pride about when I said that I'm creating Kutti Shamas, at one stage I know that I have evolved as an artist, And I know that my children will also evolve as artists. I know they will carry a little element of what I taught within them. But further down, maybe another 20 years down, they will create their own signature in dance. And that is what I want them to do as well. So I will not hold on to something that I will call my legacy and all that. But I know a little bit of me will remain in them. But I want them all to grow as individuals as well. And I know that they will.
And I think this production is a great example because we're not just sticking to, traditional pieces, but she's given us the freedom to explore different styles, which is already a start to that.
Same, I would like to say, and she was saying she needs some props. We need such a. She gave me the freedom to build up on it. I need this one. But I said, okay, give it to me. Then I'll work on it, and we could build up all the pillars, all the big things, and all those things. I want this palace scene. I said, okay, we need this to be an entirely different look. So that freedom was given to me, and I'm very thankful to Shyama. And we could build up all those things so that gives that feel, that memory. When people go back home, we need that picture to stick with people's mind. That's what we always, well, the conversation was happening, we were saying, we have to see that in a picture frame, how is in the camera, how the thing is going, This is how she had given me that freedom. I'm so thankful to her. That's the very good way to do the things.
Yeah, when you would have heard it more than many times now, freedom. When everybody is saying freedom, what that means is she has given us the opportunity to take the ownership. She would say what she wants, but then I have seen each and every one had the freedom to, chip in whatever they think. But I noticed that everybody had this thought, okay, this is what Shyama wants. They didn't go overboard, they didn't go any lesser, but they kept it there. This is what Shyama wants. I even tried, you want to do this? No. This is what Shyama wants. Let's stick to it.
I'm so blessed, Sulu. That is exactly what I was thinking. I know that I can be very demanding when it comes to certain things. Whether it was
I don't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I have pushed. I've made this guy give me so many tracks before we finalized on one. Yeah. But then when you vibe with somebody and when you know that we share the same frequency, it becomes easy. And then you know that you and them you're all syncing into the same line and we're all on the same channel. When that happens, freedom is just normal. That what the expectation is, and they will go through it. I don't feel like I've let somebody else take over the something. But in the meanwhile, what they have created, being given that space is exactly what we want over there.
Yeah, I believe that's what I say. She did say that she is very demanding. I wouldn't call it demanding. So she is the teacher. She is the, we are just following her. Okay, so we'll have to listen to her. But then there are instances where that things can fall apart. That's where she gives us the freedom to say, if you think that this can be fixed yourself, just do it.
We have had crisis situation, which I don't think these people know about it till now. The one thing that was never fixed was Rama's and Sita's costume. And last minute, it looked like, we had to put together something, which is actually true. The costume didn't come through. It was supposed to be, delivered here. It didn't happen. And I didn't want to freak out everybody. So we made best with whatever we had. So yes, there are instances like that, there is no purpose freaking out when this is not going to happen. You think of the next alternative, and I know my team is so awesome. They will switch on. I remember how Sekuti was reluctant about wearing all that Ravana costumes. Shyama aunty, really? But oh my God, see, you would have been the most in demand fashionista king ever. When you were telling me that everyone had other profession and jobs. The selflessness with which the entire team stood together, from Alex Eaton to Unni to all my kids and all my students. So Smita was one of my students who was supported with props, supporting Alex Eaton. Gave her one kutti task of doing one prop, but then she ended up doing 27 rocks, sitting at home. She's got 3 kids to look after. She's got, 3 kids and a furry baby and a family and a full-time job. So amidst all that, she was ready to take up that task, like everyone, they all took up whatever had to be done by them. It was like a contribution of so many people that came alive on that day. It was a dream of all the entirety that came together that day.
Yeah, I would say we had 15 people or we had 25 people. We sat down, we thought about it, we talked about it, and we know what we were doing. But then when I was working on things, but I also noticed that the other people, like other kids, the kuttis or the senior batch or the mums or the older dancers, everybody was in charge of everything. So they didn't even know what to do, but they took in charge and they did everything they could do. And eventually, how Shama is feeling proud, she had made us all feel proud, and we all are feeling proud the same way. So which is a great feeling. Like it feels like it's our production. We have done something, we have achieved something, and we have to be, proud for forever.
I think that was the main goal. Just it's our concert now. So, everyone just works together, and that's like the main goal as well. So despite work and uni and everything on the side, when we're there, we're all switched on because we want to pull this off together. So that team spirit was definitely there.
I need to say this. For somebody who's viewing this, it sounds like a lot of excitement. It sounds like, wow, this is an entire team. But Smriti Chichi, there is definitely a lot of struggles before which we reach, before we reach this place. There has been, it's emotionally taxing. Not everybody, maybe just a few. And for the emotional person that I am, I get very easily disturbed. So there are a lot of instances that, might have pulled me down. But in the, when we look at the bigger picture, I'd like to, show this to our audience. But then I've often seen how people who, see a show or, see something, especially on social media, think that this is it. Everything is so easy for everybody else, not for me. But if somebody has thought like that, or if somebody has been inspired by this journey, or there is a huge amount of sweat and pain and struggle that has gone into it. A lot of tears. It is inevitable and it will happen. But, if your purpose is true and if your goal is true, it will come through. There will be a team, and that is what we are.
Absolutely true. Shyama, you said about tears, strength, struggle, teamwork, but you didn't mention about resilience. And I think resilience is one thing which is very much evident in all of you guys, because this is the second production you have done after your first production, which is Raja. So you have sort of reformed a new team and a bigger set of dancers. And so where next? So I know you're still recovering.
We need a break from this.
What I wanted to touch upon was the element of theatrics that we all wanted to bring in as part of this. If we had explored the whole drama in the mere conventional sense, even hailing from the background of the Indian theatre and everything, there is a way that we play with the elements, and there is a limit to which that you invest yourself with those elements. But here, we had Alex Sutton, of course, the powerful experimentalist themselves, and then Shyama, who wanted to dare to go to new grounds, and then I was also pushed from the sense of the sound. And then we have listened from Sulu and everybody talking about all the props and the people movements. And then you mentioned, and your question essentially, Smriti, was how do you time this whole thing together in such a way that the audience actually felt the whole impact of it? This is the lights changing from configuration from one to the next in a particular succession. This is the sound lifting itself from one point to the other. This is the cues that are flying, or rather the fly cues, or rather the smothers you would see that are getting operated back to back. This is the law fog that is coming in play. This is the haze and everything coming together in a particular synchronized way. This is something that you get to watch in a movie, because you get the chance to do it all, the post or the during the production or the post-production and everything. But bringing it into the theatre, there is a format that you are supposed to follow. So we try to follow that. Starting with Vraja, we started to see glimpses of it by introducing a proper cue sheet. So this time, Shyama started preparing the multiple different cue sheets. And then ultimately, she mentioned all those late hours that Alexander and I and her would sit together. We were actually switching on to the operational side of things. See, Alexander was in charge of building the properties as well as running the part of the show that had to come in a way to synchronize and everything, programming, designing the lights, programming them. And then I also switched from my hat of, being a sound designer to being an operationalist myself, who would act as, Shyama's right hand, because she is actually going to operate somewhere behind the stage. And with the console, we were actually given a team of youngsters as well. And then also we were engaging with the professionals at the Monash auditorium where this was also happening. So we've got, operators of, the fly queue, and then we've got operators at light, operators at the sound. And with them, these are professionals who need specific words to be spoken to them. So we learn those words. What are this? I mean, okay, this is warning, there is standby, and there is a cue call that needs to happen 15 seconds before, 10 seconds before, 5 seconds before. So how do you do that, and how do you synchronize with those things as well? Also took a bit of training. We were all, a little bit, going into self-learning, and then Shyama had already prepared all the individual cue sheets, and now we needed a master cue sheet to be called. So there is a technicality that we applied. There's a process that we applied to this. And this again for us, was another bit of the experiment as well. Especially when you know that this is not your first-hand profession, right? You are coming from, as Alexander put it, he's coming from an engineering background, and now he sees a gap, and then there is an artist in him coming through his blood that wants to do something about it. Similar intentions are being shared by all of us, I believe, in a way that actually pushes us when you wouldn't even mind changing these hats. You wouldn't simply go, hey, this is not my job. I don't want to do it. And I don't know how to do it. I don't feel confident. No, you want something to be done on that stage. You wanted to motivate, inspire audience in a particular way. You want to move them because somebody has dreamed of it, and she's been sharing about it all throughout. I mean, throughout, I believe probably the whole of last 8 months or 1 year. We've been talking about that. 2 years she's been reading about it, and then she's been working with the core team with it. And then once the idea solidified, we started talking at length about it. And then Alexander was onboarded. And then we know that, okay, we are on to do something that's quite different, which might succeed or fail. We don't know. Even the day before, I was like, this is what we expect. This is all we can expect. And how was the 1st of June going to look like? What are we breaking here? It is up to you to prove. It was completely uncalled for, unconventional, and everything that you're jumping at the chance of doing something nice, and then this 200, 300 people are all organized, and thanks to her dream and vision and all the motivation that she's given. So this is what motivated the technicality, the theatrics, applying that bit into it, with all the creativity and the art that has actually gone in. This was one of those things that we really wanted to see how this goes and where the stakes is. And we're thankful that we are sitting here. I was like, I'm going to run away soon out of the show. I wouldn't even want to see your face after the show. I don't know how people are going to do it. But yeah, because you never know how you'd fumble, where it is that you're going to let yourself down, where will you go blank. Imagine a brain freeze happening right in the middle of this whole thing, because there are calls that are happening between every 8 to...
It happened to me during vote of thanks.
Yeah, example, case in point. Yeah, but I mean, had this happened inside that operational console, this whole thing, I mean, if Alex Seton would have, something happened to him, if something happened to me, and if something happened to Akshay, who's supposed to play those things, and then happened to, the Alex engineer, they are trained with these kind of things. They're like, we had to, shout into the headphone, like, Alex, ready in 5 seconds, like, then there is and Alex means lights. So, and then SX means sound. So all these code, everything has to kick in at the same time, because you're excited about the visual cue happening over there. This was quite a different kind of an exercise and everything, because I'm a professional in software and everything, but you don't get to this kind of excitement. You don't get used to this. And this is also something that, this was another one of those yearnings that you have inside of you when you join such a project. Anyway.
Almost 7 to 8 100% technical people was running exactly on the pinpoint, backstage prop movement, heavy props, everything. And the thing is that the flies comes and down. The safe line is very important. We had previous experience. If people are there in the way, they will not happen it. That's why we had safety officers looking after whether kids are in the, because the kids were also very aware. We have to clear off that we had proper markings, all of things. It was well done. That's the main thing. The team has worked very well.
Yeah.
All the backstage, all the bigger props movement, everything.
Yeah, and one thing which was very obvious was, from not just from an audience point of view, even listening to you guys, you all have gone beyond your roles to actually make this to this level. That's really amazing, and you have actually set the bar really high. That is not an easy thing. So you've really set the bar really high.
And yes, thanks to our sponsors this time. I don't think I would have been able to, dream of it in this scale. We're still, yes, we haven't still gone through all of it, but they gave me the, freedom to actually, decide that, yes, I need a break. You must have noticed that we didn't announce a break, but then we eventually had to give a break because the staff was not ready to work without a break for more than 4 hours. So we had to make that call in the last minute. There were a lot of challenges, but as a team, we were able to navigate it all, standing together, the unity of, one dream.
I mean, what you said is absolutely right, that the team is one reason behind the success. And also to put a show to this level, the sponsors are a big support. And also the community who was there to witness that. So I'm sure the community would be expecting more from you. And that again brings me back to the question, yes, I know you're still recovering from the big, last 8 months of hard work and, excitement and stress, and the 2 years of planning and, mental, direction and creativity, time span. It must have been really exhausting as well. But I'm sure the community would want more of this coming from you.
It's been a very overwhelming response. Actually, the good thing about Dashavataram Transcending Ten was the takeaway. Everybody had something to take away, whether it was on a spiritual line, on a artistic line, or whether it was on a theatrical line, or whether it is a dance line. Anything, somebody had something to take back home, and that was something that made me feel very happy about the entire layout of the project. I was very skeptical about how this is going to flow because it was highly experimental in a lot of angles. So how would they receive it? Now the good thing is that we do have a lot of interest from the community about doing this show at various levels. If things go well, we may be able to, give the community one more experience of this, because for the amount of hard work that has gone into it, I think it'll be awesome if we can all, come together. And I'm sure, no matter how exhausted they are all,
we are ready.
Yay! Yes, see, things happen. It takes its own course and happens. I've heard the statement, you've set the bar high, we need to go there. Let it take its course. Some plans reveal themselves when the time comes, and I'm happy to go with the flow, and so is everybody with us.
You're absolutely right. I mean, something has to just evolve naturally, organically, and I think it's the right environment in Melbourne, especially because with all this, our diaspora growing exponentially, and with a lot of people who are genuinely interested in pure art. I think you have a very nurturing, society here, and I would love to see more upcoming dancers on stage, and I'm hoping to see more, new creations from you and the team. I wish you and Prakalpa Samskruti to have many more of such wonderful creations, and I'm sure the Divine will be giving you, visions to create the next next wonderful creations.
Yes, thank you, Smriti. In fact, I think it's the way you have, as an audience, being a representative of the audience, seen the entire production and, taken it as your own, given your feedback on it. It is a blessing to have Rasikas who enjoy what we produce and what we are there to deliver to them. That is the most important thing. If the Rasikas are not able to understand or perceive what we are giving them, the whole purpose of art is lost. So I must thank you and everyone you represent as a Rasika for having shown us so much of love through our production. And like you said, I completely understand that this has been a divine grace that has led me to do this. And if it wasn't for Guru Ayyappan's Kadaksham, this wouldn't have been, this would have remained a dream. So whatever we have done, this entire production, I surrender it at his feet.